What's going on? Shan here. Hope you guys are doing good. I've done something a bit different for this video as I've been getting a lot of questions from people saying I'm at this stage of my business, what do I do to grow it now? I'm trying to build an app, what do I do? I'm looking for investment, what do I do? So I went through all the emails and stuff, and these guys really jumped out at me because they literally been chasing me for like 3 months. So I thought, okay, let's meet up, and I'm going to help them like break down the business and what's happening. So it's a bit of a long video, but I break down what is it they're trying to problem to solve, what's the product, what they're doing. If you're into business and want to know more about how business operates and what things you should be really focusing on in the early stages, then I think you'll really like this video. I should be doing more of these soon. So if you are setting up a business in the middle of it, struggling with growth, anything like that, send me an email, shan@affiliate.com, or on Instagram, which is @shan.hanif. I'll do my best to get back to you. And yeah, if you can send over like enough information and stuff, then maybe we can meet and we can go through it. So yeah, hope you guys like the video. Jordan.
Olu.
Hey, that's nice. We'll just take a seat here.
We came in the other entrance with the go-kart.
Are we ready to go? Should we start? I have looked at it, but I don't want to like go through it. Why don't you just first tell me yourself? So imagine I don't know anything.
Right.
Tell me about the business, the idea.
It's kind of
Yeah.
so it sort of stemmed from when we both moved back to London. We kind of hit this point where we were constantly, because the thing is with London, there's so much to do, but we always found it was really hard to find a lot of things, and we've tried pretty much every single app and every single platform and every single informational piece, from Timeout to YPlan to Dojo, and we almost always struggled to find something when we needed it, like in the moment, rather than trying to plan ahead. Yeah. And whenever we had friends coming down to London and we were just out in Clapham or Soho, and it was like find something spur of the moment, or out on a Saturday during the week, midday, finding like a food market, something like that. You almost stumble across great things by accident in London, or you hear about things through word of mouth. And we kept on running into this problem. Even on the weekend we ran into this problem, so we were just like, why don't we create something that even if it's for ourselves, it's useful, it's a tool, and then if other people that are interested in it takes off, then it sounds good. Okay.
And the other big problem we had is the salary, obviously. When you move down to London, you take a big, the salary was alright, but it's, the living costs and everything are really high, so we were always trying to find, the main thing was deals. Yeah. The main thing was us sitting there going, okay, I can find deals. Yeah. And there was things like voucher card and stuff like that, but searching on voucher card was, every deal on there's like 2 weeks outdated or 2 months ago or something crazy. So we couldn't find anything to show us current deals from the actual places besides the chalkboards that they have outside their stuff, and that just seemed really dated to us. So we spent, maybe a year probably going the wrong way about it, and when we're both designers, so we did what designers do and just designed everything, and it seemed magical, and we thought it was going to be perfect. We smashed it, and then we went to a few kind of like meetups and stuff, and the one thing we noticed we didn't have from compared to everybody else was a MVP or validation to say that the idea will work. Yes. So we kind of decided maybe 2 months ago, we kind of were like, and it was actually watching your video that kind of spurred us on, because we were I remember I was sat in bed, and I can't remember how I came across it, but I saw it, and you see a lot of people that have apps and assume that they've gone, okay, I found a co-founder, they developed the app, and then brought it to life. But then I saw what you did, and we were like, there's no excuse. Yeah. We went through the whole of uni teaching ourselves softwares, so why can't we teach ourselves to code? So we're currently on that kind of step.
But how long ago was the idea?
Probably about a year.
Okay, cool. How much have you thought of it from a business point of view? So forget the whole thing of, I have this problem and I want to solve it, right? Let's just forget that for the time being. From a business point of view, how much have you guys really thought about it?
I'd say pretty extensively.
Yeah, and probably much to our kind of disadvantage, we got almost too caught up in parts of that. Okay. So we really thought about the ways we want to monetize it, the way we want to kind of open it up into a bigger platform. Yeah. Not just this search engine, the way businesses can use it to their advantage. there was a lot
from marketing to different strategies, different growth strategies. I think we almost took the day-to-day advantage of our job and let that influence how we were kind of going about with this almost too much.
Yeah. But to be honest, like when I first started, my first business plan, like you talked about so many things that in the end, none of it really matters. Yeah. I have looked at it, and the thing is, I've actually had quite a few similar things like come across over probably the last 5 years. So the biggest thing is location-based or real-time-based stuff just does not seem to work. If you look at the ones who've been doing it, even like, for example, like Dojo, it's actually like not an active like running thing. So the guys who started it are off doing something else, and like it's just there as like a self thing, right? And there's a reason for that, you know, especially if someone could raise $1 million and can't solve the problem in a business point of view, how tough is it to basically do that again and trying to create something out of it? It's a big question, right? And what is the problem that you're actually solving? The reason I say that is because to say, oh, other apps like user experience is not that great or interface is not that great, but that's just like your opinion. Yeah. And in all fairness, every company has a user experience person. They're doing testing, you know, from focus groups to external to whatever. So everyone is doing that. Everyone is building the best user experience, right? So I'm not too sure if that's like a thing to be like, oh, that's why we're different, or that's what, you know, our design will be better or whatever. So yeah, so I'm not too convinced about just the concept itself, if I'm honest. And it's like, I just wanted to ask you guys, like, you know, how much have you thought about it? More from then, oh, I need something to do on a Friday night, you know? And why is these other apps not being able to fulfill it, really? Yeah. You know, is that you just didn't spend long enough looking on there? Is it, you know, what about it in particular is the issue?
I think if you had to summarize it, the main issue is there currently isn't a platform for businesses to communicate direct to the consumer that's not Facebook or Twitter or Instagram.
But does there need to be one?
I suppose, yeah, that's where we kind of hit the point of the validation. We were like,
the reason I say that is because what you're trying to do is a two-sided thing, and two-sided things are unbelievably hard, you know, because if you don't have the businesses, then there's nothing on there. The person that does join, he finds nothing. Even to the UI of doing a map-based one, what I've seen is it never works, because it only works in the world where there's loads of things happening. But when you've only signed up 17 businesses and 9 or let's just say 300 people have joined, it will be dead. And in that world, I don't know how much you research, but basically the supply side is what you should always cover first. So the only way it would work is if you can get like, you know, 5,000, let's just say 1,000 businesses in London can sign up actively. So again, there's a difference there, not signed up like getting someone to just create a profile and then you have this dead profile on your thing and they're not really going to care. There's one called We Are Pop-Up, or there's another one for like spaces. So they'll get like a company to say, I have a room available, but they'll never respond on there because it just made the profile. Yeah. That's the other side of it. So if you were to even find some growth hack, some marketing hack to get 1,000 companies to join, are they actually active on there and will they respond? You know, it's extremely, extremely tough on the double-sided thing if it doesn't link to revenue directly, you know? And that's where it gets more complex. So if you're saying, oh, if it's a things to do, is there a bar, or is there a restaurant, is there what? Then how far are you going in terms of like you're just placing an information about this place, like someone can actually book a ticket? Then there's a whole different ball game, right? Because then your backend needs to be able to then connect to every other person's automatically. Because if you're asking the company to join and then add stuff on your backend, you know, like oh, you know, we have this night and it starts at this time, these are the prices, this is whatever. If they're filling that out on your side, it'll never happen. Yeah. The only way you really scale or it works is if you're connected to their backend through your own like API or whatever. So every time they're just adding that information on their own website, it's automatically pinging it onto yours and people can see. But that, again, to make something that will fit into the average bar or whatever that have legacy systems, like I don't even know what you would do there to solve that side of the issue. So I think it's not really about the product. The UI can change. That's all irrelevant. how you do the UI or the user experience is our winning solution. It's more the back end of the business. Like, how will you get the businesses to join, and how will you get those businesses to put the information on your platform? And hence why it's easier for them on Facebook, whatever, because they're already living there. Yeah. I think what would be, I know this is a bit completely off topic, but I think you should look to build it on top of Facebook or something. That's probably a thing. So a lot of, I don't know, so Facebook Messenger is now open. So you can build a Facebook Messenger app. So you can say to Facebook Messenger bot, oh, I want to do something on London. And it could probably search events that are on Facebook added by these companies and find you a solution. I would build on top of like something where the whole world is already like dying, for more business, and they already signed up, they've already added all their events, and they just, they need sophistication there. And then you can potentially like charge a business or whatever, or you make them their own tool. There's so much can be done on there rather than trying to get businesses on your platform. Because that's the hardest thing, to convince a business to be like, join our thing. The only reason you can join them is by tricking them, by lying, like we have 100,000 people in London that were dying to do events. They probably say, okay. Or saying to them that, we can guarantee you this much sale, revenue, whatever, right? And again, it gets so complex that are you taking the payment? Are you just doing affiliate links? Because really what they would want is, what every brand wants is, because we did something that most people don't know about is, and it links to this, because a brand would always want the traffic to come to their website. So otherwise, you basically, for in-app experience then, from a user experience point, you don't want to just people click and it opens the browser and they've gone there to do it. If you're natively going to book a ticket or a dinner or something, then it needs to be able to that you transact. You send it to them. The problem there is when the guy wants a refund, he'll be contacting you and not them. So there's so much more complexity in the back end of a marketplace. Marketplaces are really, really, really tough. Like extremely tough businesses, because getting the supply side on there happy and loads of them and all the information on there is like the hardest thing. And then yes, okay, now I need to try to get the customers to come to this thing. So I'll be honest, looking at it, it seems really tough from that point of view, which is the real business, like when you actually sit down and do it. Imagine like someone's to give you £500,000 today and now it's your first day, you're sitting and doing it. That's what you're trying to be solving. Like, all right, I need to find businesses now. How do you get business to join? How do I get all the information off them? What's the process? And you'll start with probably doing like an Excel template, that people fill out or whatever. And then it's tough because of that. Yeah. But I think definitely there's always an opportunity, right? Because people are always doing stuff. And location-based stuff, real-time stuff, but how can that be incorporated with something which is already where people are, would be far faster to get there. I'll give you an example. So a recent company that I kind of spoke to is, it's quite interesting. They've done Facebook Messenger commerce. So you say to Facebook Messenger, like through a bot service, is like I need to buy some shoes, let's just say, and like this, and it finds you the shop that's selling it for this much, and you go, okay, cool, can you buy it for me? And then it buys it for you. Yeah. And they've like built an Facebook Messenger commerce, like instead of like for someone else would be like, that's it, I'm making a app called Style Yourself, and I'm gonna get everyone to come on there, it's gonna be amazing, like, but they're just used on there where people already are. So I would say have a look into doing it on top of something, even as an MVP, because if you can get that going, then yeah, you can argue that, okay, it's working so much that we also then want to create our own thing here, but this will still remain here and funnel people to like the project itself. Yeah. Or for an MVP, why app firstly? Because looking at this, there's nothing really app about it. You could just make a website that does the exact same thing. And a lot of people waste time and money making apps when the same thing can be done on web. Especially, I don't know, so what do you guys do in terms of front end? Just design, HTML, CSS?
Just design, but I've dabbled in Swift, but not like massively.
So if you were to learn like JavaScript, that's the language. If you want to get into coding, learn JavaScript. They have a thing called now React Native. So React is a framework by Facebook, which is used for front end. So when you see any modern website or dashboard or anything, it'll be built in React. So like the Facebook app itself is not a native app, it's built in React Native. So React Native is a framework. So React is a web front-end framework. React Native lets you publish, so you can make it in JavaScript and you can publish a mobile app through React Native. So the Facebook app that you go on, it's not done in Swift or Objective-C, it's done in React Native. Parts of it is Swift, part of it is whatever, because obviously it is a very complex, but React Native being that. So the point being is you could create a web app that also is then a mobile app, like if you were to learn that. And that's like that's what the thing is now in like web development, is like everything is JavaScript or it's React, and then there's React Native. And in JavaScript then there's loads of different things. Like, to be honest, we're working on this, a new thing, which is, so what we're building is a way for influencers to be able to create their own websites and like design it all and everything. And what we're working on is quite cool. So generally a lot of people have drag and drop builders, or they have like blocks. What we're doing is like it's inline editor. So you type, and if you want it to be bold, you can just make it bold. If you want to add an image, you just go plus add image or plus add my product. So just inline thing, and it's all done in JavaScript. So that's the future. And it's where things are made. So if you just even spend 6 months learning, you'll be able to create like amazing products out of it. Like you can literally like make a PDF, like literally like just like that, and then like save to PDF, you know? Like you don't need to sit there as a designer, like in Photoshop or InDesign, which is like really painful way of designing stuff. Because like you can get a person to like, essentially you don't need to be a designer to make it. That's what I would say on the top surface. I did go through it quite a bit in terms of, I think it'd be interesting, like, that's what I was saying, how much have you really looked into it? So who has like won in this space? Have you found anyone that's won?
So Y Plan for a long time with the kind of top guys. And then
I used to do their accounts, you know, Y Plans.
Really?
Yeah, but they were a client because when I was an accountant before this. But anyway,
it's weird. It's so there's a few apps that are like Yelp. They're probably the most kind of like staple go-to app that has lasted the length of time, and they're the one that if we need to use something, that's probably the one besides Google that we'd go to. But then there's loads. There's like Hypeit, Revel, Foursquare.
The thing is, what is the concept around the curation for the user? So what I mean by that is, like, have you thought about how, let's just say 1,000 businesses are on there and 5,000 people have joined. What happens from that point? Like, what's the curation process? Is there a brand element to this that people will trust the app's recommendation? Or is it a purely, you know, you enter some information and then it's matching in the back to certain information? Like, how have you thought about the matching aspect of it?
Yeah, so obviously we've been looking at it from like an idealistic point of view of like all singing or dancing what we wanted to do. But, you know, our kind of vision of it was that you would go on there and, you know, when we've spoken to friends, family and like peers and stuff and just asked them like what they do and stuff, it generally seems to be the same sort of process of they're looking for a kind of food, not necessarily, you know, specific, like I want ribs. They're kind of like, I kind of want like barbecue-y smokehouse food. So it's like we wanted to create a set of filters that drills down, then you just basically within those filters you have subcategories and you can add and take away. Just really simple, really clean, and that's why I think you might have seen some of the interface where it's like meant to be, you know, kind of 6 buttons. You click through, add filters as you need to, and then it will bring up everything around you and slowly curate. You know, your selection will get smaller and smaller as you add in the filters, but we don't want it to be too many steps.
See, the issue I see there is like, what is really going to be the difference when it comes to information being old, as you said, or these other places are like, so this, because in reality you are just listing a bunch of businesses, right? And then someone is using filters then to find those businesses. So an example of barbecue, you were to add like 8 really good places that, you know, again, the reason I'm saying what is good is that someone's sitting in your team and deciding what's good or bad. And how do you decide what's good or bad? Is it just in the case of who joined? Just being honest, right? So let's just say you had 10 barbecue restaurants joined. So to me, maybe you'll show me 4, you know, because I've put like low price at the same time or whatever, you know, or closest to me. So I'll see those 4 places. At what point is that useful information to me, or is it just basically like listing of 4 places? So does it come with a wise something, you know, that you've actually eaten at that place and this is your review of it, let's just say, or is it, let's not even go into reviews, because that you need like 1 million people for that to even be a real thing. So you see what I mean? Like, even though, let's just say in the perfect world we built it, You have the 1,000 businesses, you have the 5,000 people, they've come in, we've mapped out in the back end everything, and somehow we got it all there. Let's just say we even got the ability to like book a table, buy tickets right in the app, all linked up to people's back ends. Business is set. But from that point, like from looks of it, am I just seeing basically like 4 adverts of a place essentially at the end of it then? That I'm then deciding, I'll just book this table.
It's kind of a yes and a no. So it would be 4 places that you would see, but the main functionality that we want to like reach for is the live part. So it's you see 4 places, but the frustration we've had is you've seen those 5 places that are around you or 4 places that are around you, but then you go to one and then find out on Tuesdays the other place did free chicken wings or something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the main kind of.
But how do you get that information?
That's what we want to open it to the businesses. So the idea is that it's almost like a profile system. So the businesses have their profiles, and then users have theirs.
No, I understand that, but that's like the hardest thing, right? Because what I mean is that means you're expecting the business not to only join your platform now to be like actively updating on there.
Yes.
To an extent, right? For them, for you to know there's free chicken, for then the end consumer to know there's free chicken. See, there's modern ways to do this. If it is that you're trying to think of like to reinvent like the advert that everyone will do, which will be like nice pictures that they will upload, and they'll probably upload the same pictures on all the other platforms. I'm just saying, which are nice pictures. Like there's no realness to it. In most cases, when you end up in a restaurant, you're like, oh shit, this is so much smaller than I thought it was, or it doesn't nowhere look nice, as thing or whatever. Have you thought about that thing that where it's been always the same, which is like, you have nice 5 images, you have a description box, what you'll have, maybe you can even pull in the reviews from a Yelp or something because they have an API and you can paste it there. It's just very re-pulled information and just shown again to the user, which really, if I just put the same restaurant name in Google, am I going to see the same? And if you really want to have that user experience or something, it's got to have something like a different way to make someone see, and then it could be very targeted. Maybe it's like, I am hungry now, and it shows you 5 places only, closest to you, irrespective of cuisine or whatever. Is this what I mean? Is I got to think of it more of I don't know which way you're going, because the complete open marketplace does not work. And they fail the most, basically. They fail the most because it's really, really tough to be like an Airbnb or whatever, where it has worked, but if you try to do the same thing again, it will not work. Because of the problem of the 2 sides and the amount of businesses that have failed because they couldn't get to either side. On one side, you're trying to build a brand and you want to be, and people are going to trust you, but on the other side, you need the brands to join, because without them, you have nothing. The easiest business to build, and it's something to think about, is that if you can build something basically on the business side, like I'll be honest, like from my experience, that's by far like the best thing to chase than like a marketplace. So when I first started, we did a social app, and the concept was on one side we have influencers, or then it was a lot food based, on one side we have people. So it's the same thing, someone will join. We had crazy marketing hacks to get people to join. They will upload 7 pictures, 9 pictures, follow 20 people, maybe log in twice more, but then that was it. Because other social platforms are better. Because as soon as you upload a picture on any of the other social platforms, you'll get loads of interaction, loads of this, that. In the end, it came down to like, why? And I had the whole concept like, but businesses will pay to have their posts at the top, or businesses will have featured profiles, or then businesses can pay, and imagine it's a food company, and I actually got companies to join, and I was like, if you pay anyone that puts these hashtags, we'll show your content to them. All of that only works at a very high scale, like very high scale that you will not be able to achieve anytime soon for it to be worth anything, especially when it comes to like, if you're thinking of advertising, you need 1 million impressions to be able to charge like £10 for it. Like the money in advertising comes so late that advertising is not a revenue stream for a business. It needs to be something else. Advertising is a revenue stream for every business when they have scale, because that means you have so many eyeballs that someone is paying to be there. Those are things that I see, and hence why there's not one clear winner. The winners that have been were, you are right, they were like the Y Plan and stuff did well with like comedy nights and that sort of stuff, where they need to fill last minute spots. It's not filled and people go on and book something, right? And to be fair, I like all like Open Table or the restaurant
Yeah.
ones. And the reason people exist in their own little things because they've built the reputations. And then again, are you doing everything? Or maybe you just do gigs. You know, maybe it's just this. Like in reality, like we started with fitness as that was the MVP, and now we're working on the real product. So for the last like 2 years of this project, and even though we've done millions in sales, that's actually up till now has been the MVP. MVP was, can we do it in fitness? Like, can we see if influencers can basically build their own brands and monetize? And yes, they can. And we approached it in a way that first we did it the open way, anyone can join, and only the bottom end will join. The top end will never join. So then we scrapped the bottom end and then went on a one-on-one basis on the top end to pull those guys in and work with them to create and learn and do all of that. And now we're moving to the bottom end, but now we have a different approach with it because we're not just doing the software, we're also doing like the content side. So which means that if you want to be an influencer or a better influencer, let's say you have 50,000 followers and you get to 500, we're going to also put all the content there. So like how to grow Facebook ads, all this kind of stuff. So imagine like a marketing school alongside the software. And then work on, from a user's point of view, the easiest way to build a website, like genuinely easiest, not blocks, not drag and drop, no coding. So like, can you really build yourself a website like, in 2 minutes? By just like typing and just, so that's what we're working on. We're trying to see what technology works, what this works. So it's just that. So like figure out an MVP. Maybe it's something to look at by looking at like Facebook Messenger and all of these other stuffs. Like somewhere things are already happening. To give you an example, how I find stuff currently is I actually use Instagram accounts. So I follow Instagram accounts. And this one Instagram account, like I think literally the guy's name is something like Burger Guy London or something, and he just goes to different burger places. And I would literally go and see where he's going and pick one and go to it. Again, why? Because I go on Instagram 75 times a day, so like that's where he is. I wouldn't go to the app. Look at the stats: 50% of time spent in 50% of time on smartphones is spent in the 5 social media apps. People just don't have time to download your app. Because for us, we have an app, but it's for customers only. So it's because I don't think if you go to make a consumer fitness app or influencer app, it would ever work. It's just because the competition is so hard that it just wouldn't. So we've only made it for customers, or customers using it just to open content that they've purchased, not from the consumer side. Because we tried it, and I did absolutely everything. There's no way you can compete, because the way it works is, from ads point of view, it'll cost you like £1 to £5 to get a download, and that person will use the app twice and never come back. Like, it just does not work. Hence why so many apps have come and gone. There was another one which was a location based, they raised $1 million. They were based in Runway East with us, but then they closed down. I think that was like, what your friends are doing or something around you. Something like that it was called. They used to put a lot of posters up around London. But yeah, basically there's another one I saw was a backpacker. So
Is it Fever?
But I was quite surprised at that, because $1 million is a lot of money, and it's crazy to raise that much and not solve the problem. And maybe they didn't do it right or whatever, or this, because a lot of people thought you can just buy downloads, so they would spend like 50k a month, get 50,000 downloads, and be like, wow, this is working. But the retention on mobile is like horrible. That's why it's like stay away from apps, because month 1 to have even a retention of like 10% is good. So that means, let's just say you paid 50,000 and 40,000 of those, let's say you get 50,000, you had 50,000 downloads, 40,000 of it is not going to be there next month. And so like, it's crazy. And then if it's a marketplace, then you're screwed, because if it's 10,000, but they're all subscribing for like £5 a month, it's not bad, right? 'Cause, okay. But if they're just coming in to like click on affiliate links, so they're coming in to buy some tickets that you'll make 1% on, 3% on, there's no business there. And that's why I'm being honest, like looking at it, I don't see where the business is. Because percentages never work, especially on tickets or whatever, So I also worked on Songkick, the ticketing platform. And hence why they started selling tickets themselves, because that was the only real revenue model they could chase. Because a small affiliate percentage only works with like insane scale. And obviously they have got loads of scale, and they came out when tech was quite new, so they raised like shitloads of money. But that today would be tough. And today, to even raise money, without a product and actual traction is like impossible.
Yeah, that's one thing we've definitely noticed. I mean, we were really naive to it, like 6 months ago. Oh no, wait, what were we in July? Yeah, longer than that. We were, we were going to all these like pitches. Sometimes just going to listen to see what people had, and it's crazy how far along the line you need to be to even get that sort of investment.
Yeah, I know. I've done it all. I went to all of these, and what would surprise me again when I used to go is like, wow, you don't have a product yet. What are you doing here? You should like be at home working, And that's what I would say to you guys, like, forget all of it. You got to somehow put a product together, because what you put in your interface. If I showed you our early interfaces, the things that we did in design, it never like that in practice. It just really isn't. I remember, this is the craziest thing. I thought the difference making my UI, apps do circle images, and I'm going to do hexagon images, and that's going to kill it. Because we were like, whoa, this is sick. Like, you're that get into your own head that you start thinking even the smallest thing is so cool. Like, I was like, why don't we have like, a banner on someone's profile and just a picture? The smallest thing in an interface, you can get into it that, this makes it so much better than that one. But you don't realize, but there's loads of people using that one. There's a reason for it. Even you guys like don't use Dojo, like Arson right there, he goes, he uses Dojo all the time.
Right, yeah.
So if you didn't like it, but other people like it.
The data kind of speaks for itself type thing.
That's the thing, So it's like, that's what I realized, because we were trying to compete against Instagram, then randomly I was like, what the hell are we trying to do? We'll never win. Instead, what are we trying to do on top of it? The reason I say that is if you were to do something on Facebook Messenger, Facebook will love you.
Yeah.
And no joke, they would literally invite you to like their offices, and they'll want to work with you because they love people that are working with them. So we have like an Instagram developer app now, which gives us, we can see anyone's insights on Instagram because now we're partners. So they love like working with people that are building on their stuff. And now we're using React, that we're using, this new thing we're looking at, it's all Facebook's technology because it's open source. So if you just use more of the stuff or the thing, they will love you that much more. And this is a company that's like, you'd rather be in the ecosystem than trying to like say, no, we're better. Like, no, like just no. Yeah. So I would say completely scrap the idea of a mobile app. There's nothing to gain in there. The idea, stick to it in terms of if that's your passion and you want to solve that problem. We're trying to solve it in a way that others have not done. So not another just advert, not another just this, something else. Like there's like on demand became a real thing. So some people have solved it, or they made good products like it's same day service. So you text it like, I need flowers and I need it to be sent here, and they do it for you. Right. And that's it. There's no website, there's no checkout, there's no this. So SMS or messaging is the most way we communicate now. So building something on Messenger would be a very, very cool thing. Imagine saying, I want to go to a gig tonight. What options do I have? Yeah. And it's doing the same thing. So the backend is the same, meaning that you can say, do you want casual or this? So it's the filters, right? But you're doing it in a text way. Getting the information, searching it and presenting it to the user, and he can be like, I want this, this. And maybe you begin with only events that are available on Facebook. Yeah. It'd be easier for you to go to business and be like, guys, would you mind putting your events on Facebook? They'd be like, yeah, sure. And that's it. And if you do that, you'll be in our tool that we've made. And you can probably just sit there and email hundreds of businesses just saying, if you're having an event, can you please put it on Facebook? That's all you ask for, and we will get you some business. How easy is that? Saying, no, download this app, sign up thingy, then every time you have free chicken, make sure you update it. Or, most likely they're already putting all the events on Facebook, right? Like anyone with gigs, or especially in entertainment, maybe not so much in restaurants, then again, pick your space and go for that. And then you can you'll have the buzz because that's what's trending, for any press, anything, you can talk about that more. From a UI point of view, you can do it really cool. So there was an app, we did a bot interface for a bit where you put your this is my goal, and we were loading, then we think you'll let me search. So we kind of made it we are analyzing and talking to you, but it's just pre-written. I think there's another fitness app that does that really well. They're let me fetch the perfect thing. So it feels really cool to the person because it feels like you're talking to someone. And then give that person a name, and then it can create a personality. I am I don't know, Shaky, Shaky the DJ, and I can find you the hottest events. And if you're on a Friday night, don't know where to go, ask Shaky the DJ, he'll tell you. Whatever, right? And you're doing it on top of something which already is. You just learn Facebook Messenger, look at the API, learn one of the things, how to build on it, one of the languages, and you can probably scrape something together by watching tutorials, whatever. And that's what I would do. Because if you can't even do that, how are you going to build a whole project? I'm just being honest, you know. And you'll prove it to yourself that can we make a product and can we get the businesses to join or the people to join or whatever. And it'll be way, way easier than going the other route. Yeah, there's one way. So basically very easily you can like scrape. So you could like scrape data on people's Facebook pages, even then what's posted on events or posts or whatever. And you can pretty much just scrape and populate your database with it. Like, but there'll be so many companies that failed because at the end of the day, one, you gotta first have a product, have everything, then you gotta have crazy hacking mentality to be able to, you know, like we in back in like June 2016 or something, I must have emailed like 1,000 influencers and then 10 said yes. And that's what started us, because then those 10 people made money. And then from there it just grew and grew. And those days, it was so hard to convince an influencer that, you know, you can sell something. People would buy content from you, things from you. They're like, no, whatever. Well, who's someone? It was not a thing. And now every day we have 50 emails, people begging that, let me please sell something. I want my own clothing line. I want to sell my guides, my ebooks, whatever. So that's the other side of it. But I would say 100% have a look at the stuff and see what you can do on the thing. And start from there, build a product, and then everything else just becomes thingy. Even when it comes to investment and everything, like once you have a product, everything is easy. It's just without that, it's pretty much just an idea, right?
Exactly.
So trying to think of that and see what you can do. Is this a place to win, really? You know, because if you were to, I don't know, do some sort of AI, you can get away with it, and that could really make it that much more. I did find one. There used to be an app called Uncover, and it never worked. It was the same thing, book last minute restaurants, and now they've rebranded to Velocity Black, and it's like an AI that's a members club that where they deliver you like the best lifestyle. So I think it's like an assistant, say like, I want to go to a restaurant, it then books you a restaurant and this, and it finds you like the best things. That's what they're saying, that, you know, it's for like the elite people. That you come into New York, you want to go to the nicest bar, you want to go this, and they're saying it's AI. So, you know, and again, they've done their own app though, if maybe, you know, they had the funding for it, but it's still tough. Apps are just tough business. That I would never make an app again from the metrics. It doesn't make sense. Like I want to make an app again as the fundamental focus. Like I would make an app like how we have now, it's open content, or we want to make an app so the influencer can add their stuff through an app. Like usability wise, yes, apps are way better, obviously. But as a consumer like brand, trying to be a consumer brand is just so expensive.
Yeah, I don't think we've like romanticized the idea of having an app. It's more we want to somehow address this issue. And
so I think you need to look wider and see what's out there to see how you can address it. That's what I would say.
Didn't even think of chatbots whatsoever.
Yeah.
As soon as you said it, just
when I heard they call it like chat commerce or something, that's such a good idea, because like almost like, you know, everyone is on Facebook, and if you could like go and get someone to do something, because at the moment you would go to Google, go to a website, then transact. How much easier it is to do in chat, and it's coming from like China, right? So like WeChat. Over there, they've made a Facebook Messenger equivalent, but you can do everything in one place. So you can like shop all clothes, you can book an Uber, everything in there. So that's what Facebook's doing. I think soon you'll be able to book an Uber through your Facebook Messenger or whatever, like, you know, so that's like the thing. And even iMessage, I think they're opening it up. They've already made the API that you can do like keyboards and shit, and you can make little apps, but not fully. So that will mean essentially you could build into like iMessage for like the same thing, because you'd have to build your backend service somewhere, so you're going to need some sort of development for that. But in that case, you just need to find like a backend developer that wants to join you guys. That'll solve all your development problems, because that's what's really needed, is someone in the back who's going to make the bit. Tech wise, it's all about the back end. Front end does not matter. It's about the back, like how you're getting the information, processing it, saving it, and all that kind of stuff. And I would say find that guy.
I think our plan was initially to get a tech co-founder, and then we ran into that sort of cycle of we couldn't get anyone because we couldn't necessarily, like, because they're just in demand in every aspect. So no one was really we spoke to a couple of people, but none of that really took off. So then we were going to meetups to hopefully bump into the right person. And we were like,
your best bet is going to be someone like you who's like, he's learning it, hasn't really really into it, but he's willing to like, and he's doing some other job and he's like, cool, look, I'll keep learning it to get there. Because someone who's already learned it, he's not going to join. I'm just being honest. You just need a guy who's like getting into it.
Okay.
Who's like, yeah, I'm working right now and I would like want to maybe leave and do something. I'm learning this language or whatever. That's one way. But see if you can do it yourself. That'd be the best thing you can do is if you can do it yourself. It might take a bit longer, but learning the language would mean that you can make like 7 products in the next 20 years.
Right.
You know, just think of it in that way rather than a quick thing. That if you just learn a language, just because we've had guys, one guy, he was a designer. He actually came as he's my first guy that I ever hired. He came as wanting to learn iOS. But then he knew design, so then he literally has been designing things for the last 3 years for us. And then he's going to JavaScript and now React, and now he can do that as well. And him getting into that is just in his own accord, and that can help us now in so many things and help him. Because now he can do things that were not possible before. So just learn, really. And once
definitely something we like to do, to be fair.
Work on something and send it to me, even as a concept. You know, like, oh, we've thought about 3 other ways we can do this. And these are the 3 ways or something or whatever. Just brainstorm. From a product point of view, forget UI, forget all of that stuff. It's more that problem. How do I get businesses? How will those businesses put information on there? How do people see this information? Then how do people go and, you know, action this information? Is it affiliate links? Are we opening a browser? Are we transacting? All of those are very different things. So yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Oh, sweet.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. You know,
Can we get a picture together?
yeah, actually, let's do it.
Perfect.
All right,
Sweet.
thanks.